What's up guys, Nolan here, and we actually have some pretty crazy stuff popping up around Tarkov these past few days. The entire roster of scav bosses can be found on reserve at the same time right now, and that was after Killa got lost on factory, of which he is still on factory, as well as interchange and reserve, and all those scav bosses are still on reserve. So that was from the past couple days, but today we have Glukhar getting a little adventurous, and he decided to break into the labs location, of which he left the door open, so it is free for us to play there now. And you can go find Glukhar in labs still. So in terms of new events, we have Killa on factory, all of the scav bosses and their guards on reserve, and then of course Glukhar on labs. So with all of this happening, I see lots of people screaming wipe and asking me what I think about it, and I've already said what I think on Friday with Killa, guys. I don't see these events as pre-wipe events per se. They could just be special events to get people playing. There is a very real chance that BSG turns these events off, everything goes back to normal, they upload patch 12.11, and it's not a wipe. That is a very real possibility that a lot of people actually believe will happen if things do happen this way. Another thing that could happen is we keep getting these special events leading up to the final trader unlock event, or not. Either way, it could lead to the upload of the patch and then the wipe. It's very confusing. They have never done anything like this before, so that's all that we have to work with. However, the only precursor that we have right now to whether or not 12.11 will be a wipe is if they open all of the traders. That's it. As of right now, you can go and do things that would get you gear, XP, and money easier than usual because of your access to bosses and their bodyguards, but it's not completely throwing your progression out the window by just giving you that gear, XP, or money for free, which is what turning all the traders unlocked for you would do. No matter what events happen between now and 12.11, unless you see the traders fully unlock, I really don't consider it a pre-wipe event, but that's just me. And it also doesn't mean that it won't happen, that's just the only thing that we have to go off of. Something interesting to think about here as well that someone on our Discord found was that there has been a new event on a new location every day for the last 3 days. There's 4 maps left that haven't had an event, and there's 4 days left until Thursday. So those of you that are not familiar with the meme, BSG really like to drop things on Thursdays, so you can do the math there. I'm thinking if we see a new map with a new event tomorrow, I'm willing to bet that we get them every day up until the patch. Now, along with the start of today's event, BSG shared a newspaper clipping on Twitter with some interesting information. To start off, the issue number of the newspaper was 12.11, which is already interesting in itself. So it sounds like something here might have something to do with 12.11. Either way, they recognize that 12.11 is the next patch here by doing that. Now, the front articles read like this. Breaking news. Yesterday, our editorial office received information about the opened entrance to a certain secret laboratory right under our city, and about a group of armed people who cordoned off the perimeter. According to our anonymous informants, mysterious armed fighters without identification marks have surrounded the area of the opened entrance to the lab and are taking out boxes and barrels with unknown contents. According to some reports, a group of fighters is commanded by a certain Glukhar. We assume that the International Corporation Terror Group is involved in this lab, which has actively invested in the modernization of the plant. At the moment, we cannot confirm whether the lab really belongs to Terror Group, but before the blockade, suspicious actions of company representatives and sudden buyouts of various enterprises throughout the city were revealed, which leads to the fact that the corporation had plans for a large-scale operation on the territory of Tarkov. So, the secret lab, obviously being labs. I think the report is literally what is happening in game right now. I think the men without the identification are Glukhar's men and not the Black Division, and some people might have mistranslated Glukhar's name to either Deaf Man or some kind of Russian bird. I have it on good authority that when they say Deaf Man or whatever people think is that Russian bird name, it literally translates to Glukhar's name. And I think that makes complete sense because that is what is happening right now. Glukhar and his boys, which do not wear identification, broke into labs. If it was the Black Division, I think they'd do a much better job of not being seen, and they sure as hell would not have let anybody from a newspaper get good eyes on them in order to do a report on them. Either way, this is some interesting lore behind the goings-on in Tarkov. Now, if we look really closely, there's some text that bleeds through the page, so if you flip the picture, then translate that text, this is what it says. Hello, friend. I know we haven't met in person in a while, but because of my research, I cannot leave my cabinet even for an hour. Combat medicinal drugs are in a great demand, something, regenerative injectors, and other developments. I managed to create and test a new version of the quote-unquote cocktail, which can significantly accelerate metabolism, allowing to neutralize something, and significantly improve physical and intellectual abilities of a patient. However, there are some minor negative effects, which we should discuss in person. The first batch of this cocktail is ready to be transferred transported something will be waiting for you with a test sample at our usual place. So that was the first paragraph, and here was the second. During the second recon mission inside the perimeter, the task group found the remains of the first group, which had stopped getting in touch a day before. Opened Class Gamma containers were found among the bodies. According to the investigation findings, the group had been ambushed by a group of unidentified fighters. The enemy used specialized tools to open personal secured containers of our soldiers to get access to the contents of the containers. It is necessary to change call signs of the active groups in the deleted area of responsibility. Make a point of the available containers, ensure the safety of the information, something sealed off areas. So yeah, the elephant in the room there being someone knows how to open secure containers, or at least the Gamma secure container. Now this could be Black Division, it could be USEC, it could be Raiders, it could be anyone, as they weren't identified. However, given that they weren't identified, and because they have some pretty crazy tech, people do believe that it's Black Division, which it very well could be Black Division. So this mystery group had special tools to open these containers, and we don't know who gave it to them, or who made it, or who else has access to them. Before that, it mentions what I believe to either be the ETG stim or some new variant of it, seeing as it calls it the first batch, and seeing as what it does to the patient that it is actually stimulating. But we'll have to wait and see. So when you put all of that together, Glukhar and his boys broke into labs, but they left the door open behind them, so now you can go and play in labs for free, and you can find him down there when you do go down there. When you take the extra stuff into account, it sounds like we may be getting a new stim at some point, and I guess someone knows how to open our secure containers. And I really wish we had more information, but we don't, so you bet your asses I will be keeping that at the top of my list whenever I do get a chance to ask any questions to anyone in PSG, because that is terrifying. In terms of this weekend, this is all sort of new. I know that they've tested turning every scav into Killa before, as well as removing the secure containers or locking them in raid before. We also, of course, have the nothing but raiders, the giant sale, and the trader unlocks as previous special events before, which, remember again, unless we see the traders unlock, I do not see any of this as a pre-wipe event, just a special event, even though I do still think that they are going to wipe with 12.11. They're just doing it very differently this time around, so it's difficult to give proper estimates or assume what's going to happen next, because they're doing things very differently. And that is all for today, guys. Expect there to be more shenanigans happening this week, and if you want to take part in the conversation or the gameplay, you can join our new community Discord. The link is in the description. And as usual, for the latest Escape from Tarkov news or content, you can check out these playlists here. If you like this video, then you know the drill. Please subscribe. I really appreciate the people who do. Otherwise, I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.